Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to an exciting episode of You've Already Peaked Gaming Podcast featuring your host, Locarthemanbeast. Also featuring me, the DjLobsterDust.
The dust.
I'm looking at a pile of shit I just knocked over because I was back. I didn't have my monitors on, you know, so I didn't hear it until I looked and saw this thing still falling. It's great.
It's great.
It's good.
It's good. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
You have ghosts out there yet? I feel like that house is haunted.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah. When I was out there,
90% sure, yes.
dude, like when I was out there, just like you get that feeling. And I don't know if it's just because you're back in the woods or whatever, but there's just like, I'm sure this house is probably built on a burial ground or something. Like it's got a, there's the running water nearby. It gives off energy. You know, it's like, I'm sure.
Dude,
because didn't a couple people die in that house?
There's a God, it's not talking about it.
Come on, man.
So, yes,
they're nice people. They're nice people.
Yeah. Okay, so here nor there. I may or may not have a cat be giving birth in one of my closets right now.
What?
So yeah, so there was a. Did I ever tell you about like MRI kitty?
Yes.
Okay,
I saw him up at Mom's house. Yeah.
Yeah. So that cat was like the cat that I was like, come here. And like eventually I got it over there. Like, cool. Gave birth to like, she got knocked up while she was there before I could like get her fixed.
Right.
Gave birth while she was still like breastfeeding. Her kittens got pregnant again, which my mom was like, I didn't even think that was possible. Like I thought like there was like a window where like they wouldn't, but like she immediately got pregnant again. And so for this house, my mom was like, you should take
when her kittens were breastfeeding, she got pregnant again.
Yes.
Got you. Okay. Sorry. I thought you said the
not when my mom was breastfeeding.
No, I thought you said the kittens got pregnant. I was like, what?
No. While she was still breastfeeding her kittens.
Yes.
Like they hadn't even like
she got pregnant
yet, and she got out and got pregnant again. So my mom was at first she was like, fuck, like I was gonna get her fixed, but then she's like, well, take her over to your place and have her kittens there because like there's the whole underside of the deck. She's like, they'll keep down like all the mice and like rats and stuff. So I was like, okay. And then tonight I just went over. My mom's like, can you get like cranberry, raspberry LaCroix? And like I was like, yeah, sure. So like when I was out today, I went and I got stuff and I went over to drop stuff off and she's like, I think she's going into labor. I was like, what? She's like, she's in a carrier right now. Take her home immediately. I was like, so I have a cat over there. Anyways, so I got home. I know I've kind of bird trailed, but this is coming back around. Don't worry.
Okay.
So I get home and like I run the cat in, and it's like dark here.
Yeah.
And I'm running out and I'm getting like the cat food that she had me bring home, like all like the blankets and stuff to like set up. And there are some fucking owls, but I mean like they sound big.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, I was all, oh shit. And then there's like 3 of them. Like I'm like triangulated as I'm like walking out to like out the driveway to the car. And I'm like, this is creepy. And then like there's just like the faintest light in between all the trees, and you swear you just saw something move from like tree truck. And you're like, ooh, if you see me walking around my house with a gun, it's because I'm scared.
So did you put the cats outside in that little like sunroom?
No.
In the garage?
No, they're in that, the little bastard closet.
Oh God. There's like no ventilation in there. You're just gonna have afterbirth all over that flooring. Yeah. Hey, when in the woods, you do what you need to do.
I was gonna put her. I didn't know where to put her.
It's a cat.
I thought the garage would be It's like we're just in and
I
out of
would
the
have.
garage. I don't want to like stress her out. Outside, and she's never been here before. I figured like that might be too much. Plus, there is fucking like I get woken up by deer all the time because
Yeah.
I sleep with all like the windows open.
Yeah.
They get right up in the business. They're there, and like
Yeah.
something spooks them. Like I'll be like just about to be asleep, and you hear just like like a deer spaz for a second, like look around, you're like fucking sack of shit, like oh, like, you're already like up. So like I didn't want like her out there, like all like the new
All
sounds.
right.
And
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
I thought this is, I'm just trying.
I would have rather taken that fucking ancient like cat that your mom has, the one that's like that thing should have died like 10
like
years ago.
Cemetery.
Yeah, dude. We walked up and it was like, meow. I was like, oh my god, we
Just walks up.
Yeah, she's like,
all the fucked up.
Yeah,
hair on
she's like, oh, leave him be, he's okay. I was like, he's fine, but I was like, god damn, you should just take a shovel to that thing at this point. Like,
God, I would
feel bad for it
because it's like so hunched over and old that every time you look at it, you're like, it looks so sinister. But then like you go to like I get down to get like a picture because it looks creepy and it just comes up like, I want love.
Yeah, and that's all it does. You're fine. It's so I think I kind of tested it from the last one. It's definitely like where the signal goes. So there's a point where like as the signal is like leaving and trailing back, there's like that the pause, and it happens every like I don't know, say 20 minutes or something. You see,
I think it happened like twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. So if we shoot,
and they said it's about 20-30 minutes every 20 or 30 minutes it does like it requires a satellite.
Exactly. So that's probably what it is. But yeah, and that's what it is. Every time I see that cat, it's like, oh man, you just want a little bit of love, and like you touch it, and you're like, oh, if I pet too hard, I feel like the skin would just come off your bones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel so bad because like it just wants like it is just like a lover cat, and you pet it, and you feel it's like. Thank God. Like this could be the last good thing you feel before you die because you're going at any second.
Is that the cat?
But as soon as I'm done, I'm like,
I'm going to wash my hands.
That was disgusting.
Is that the cat that used to catch the birds at the fucking feeder?
No. Jade survived the Paradise Fire.
Okay.
and is the only thing that Pat has left from that house.
Okay.
And
that's Pat.
Jade probably should have died in the Paradise Fire. And my mom's like, okay, well, like, we have cats. Like, she'll get on, and she looks like she's about to die. So she was like an indoor cat that was on hospice, basically. And that was 5.5 years ago, 6 years ago. And now my mom's like, I'm going to start feeding her fucking, like, all the, like, the leftover, like, medications I have. Like, I don't need this blood pressure medication anymore, but you might. Like, I'm just going to feed this fucking cat everything. I can't believe it's still alive. I think it's inhumane that it's still alive, but Pat loves her, and she... always is nice, so like I can't fucking kill her. Otherwise, I would have taken her down to the horses and just shot her and left her out in the woods for the coyotes to get.
Yeah, no, but she's a survivor though. You'd leave her out there and she'd come back stronger. You'd add 10 more years or like
dragging a coyote.
Yeah. Is this what you wanted, mother? Oh my god! Oh Christ. Well, I guess what a way to welcome in the new home by having fucking kittens.
I know.
Hopefully, so my sister had kittens my sister's cat had kittens one year, and
my sister had kittens.
And it was like her second or third litter, like back to back, and I remember with the cat.
I like to acknowledge that you felt the distinction to be like, well, my sister didn't have kittens.
Well, I heard it in my head and I was like, that's all right. But we left one day, and so we had like a mud room at like Teresa's house, and there's like a mud room that we put the cats in. It's like, okay, cool. She's giving birth. We're gonna go get food. We'll come back, see how she's doing. And I think the cat's name was Lexi or something. It was a Maine Coon, beautiful looking cat.
Love Maine Coons.
Yeah, but it was like her second or third litter back to back. It was like there was a stray that was running around just fucking all the cats, And so like after the second one, they were like, oh, we should probably spare, and they never did. And the same type of situation, she got pregnant again. So fuck. We come home. My sister was little at the time. We come home, and I go in the mud room, and I remember looking down and being like, there's no heads on any of these cats. The mom just, how they lick and clean? And then she and it was like, woo, we should probably spay that cat. Yeah, dude, it's a real thing. It's a real thing because it's a nutrient thing too. As the cat comes out, that cat needs nutrients and all the stuff. It's a whole fucking process, and something in certain cats' heads will do that. They will lick, clean, and then if they don't feel like it's necessary. Yeah, dude, your house becomes.
If I wake up and there's a bunch of fucking
headless cats,
headless babies, I swear to God,
that's a sight you can't.
If that happens, we're reshooting tomorrow. Clearly, we'll need to address this.
We'll do a short when I get up there.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But that'll be a good indicator on when you need to fix that cat.
Yeah. So. Good God. That's terrifying.
Yeah. Dogs will do it too. Yeah. Dogs, like with runts and stuff like that, some dogs will just they'll like just do shit to runts that they know. Like,
I mean, I've seen them like leave, like they just like neglect them to death. They're like, no, this won't.
Yeah.
And they just like hands off and focus on all the other ones.
Yep.
I've seen that before.
And then they'll eat them.
I see them fucking eating them. Jesus. I'm just
cats are
yelling that cat.
Cat is ruthless. Like, it's like you save what kittens you can. You just get rid of that one, you know? It could be worse. It could be worse. At least it's like they do it like, I don't want to say humanely because they're eating fucking heads, but at least like it definitely, yeah, it's like Ozzy Osbourne the bat. But I mean, like for the most part, it seems like it's pretty clean afterwards. Like for the most part, like, it was just a bunch of headless cats. It wasn't like, it didn't look like a massacre. It wasn't like someone like a fucking Fido with a rope toy just all over the room.
Good God.
Yeah.
All
right. Talking about
games. Yeah. I'm gonna sleep well tonight.
Yeah. We have to talk about games this week. We have to actually go back to a gaming podcast because we're being called out by our friend group for having this as the old man.
No one watches this shit.
No one watches this shit. But
I'm sorry that I was just coming off of a move, and I'm sorry that I was just like getting everything like situated, and we put one together because we want to keep content for you guys.
Yeah, but that's
throw that shit at us.
See, that's the problem, right? The content that the subpar 3 out of 10 content that we provide doesn't hit well enough when we make it a 2 out of 10. It's got to stay a 3 out of 10.
It's got to stay at 3. Okay, fine. Let's get into it. Dustborn. we broke the story of Dustborn.
We did. We absolutely did. I don't know if we broke the story, but it was damn close.
4 days later, it shuts down. Well, not shuts down.
No,
but getting tanked.
So did you see the response?
What else took the same?
That was amazing. Did you see the response the developers came out with? Did you see that their Twitter post?
Yeah, you sent it to me.
Oh my God, what a fucking.
So in this Venn diagram, like right here in the middle, it's that like we tried to push ideals and like, I wouldn't say political agenda because I don't think it's really like uber political, but it's very much like you will like this, like very much like that's the focus of it. And there is another, like in this Venn diagram, if this is Dustborn, over here, a lot of people are saying is Concordia.
Man, Concordia is another big one. Okay, so
that is
Concordia.
Let's talk about Concordia.
Concordia hit that certain mark where it felt very much so. It was what is this game trying to be? It's trying to be Overwatch. It's trying to be like not political, but definitely like acceptable to everyone. You know, there's like this
overly inclusive.
But the problem that came down to it, I think that fell on those heels is that when you get to hero shooter games and you throw price tags at things, it has to be worth something. Now, granted, it didn't have a huge price tag. I think the price tag on it was like, I think it was $40 or whatever to get into the game. And it's like, it wasn't much. It wasn't a whole lot. But I also think that here's why I think Concordia shut down, because I think it was only live for
3 days.
No, it was longer than 3 days. I think it was a week and a half or something like that. Well, when
The
did
beta had been open?
Yeah.
and like certain people had early access to it, but I think it was only live for like 3, maybe 4 days. I almost wanted to say 2.
Not Concordia. What's the fucking? It's Concord.
Is it Concord? Concordia.
It's Concord. It released 23rd of August. So it had been live, and it confirmed its cancellation on the 3rd of September. So it had been live for a week. So yeah, well done.
$200 million budget. Good job, boys.
The problem is, okay, here's really where I think that it went down. I don't think it went down because it's a bad game. This is why I think it went down.
No.
I will tell you exactly why it went down. And this is the exact reasoning. They may not fucking have put this out there, but this is the exact reason. Because Sony fucking hit a roadblock with Helldivers. Because of
that's a huge part.
All the bullshit that came up from Helldivers. And so when they released this game and it didn't make their sales, they immediately pulled it because they're like, we're not going to battle against what we just battled with Helldivers. Fuck it, get rid of it, move on. I think that's exactly why Concord shut down. Or Concordo. Whatever the fucking name of the game is. It sucks too because I looked at it and I was like, I could play it. There was like different game modes and stuff like that seemed interesting. Like the hero shooter genre for me is a lot of fun. Like the team tactical hero shooter seemed fun. The abilities and the characters didn't seem. I think that's the next big thing is that when you look at what is the big hero shooters, you know, you have stuff like Overwatch. That's kind of the like controlling factor behind all of it. Overwatch, as bad as Overwatch is, has Blizzard backing. You have cinematics that Blizzard puts together. You have a storyline that Blizzard puts together. There's a lot of emphasis on it. There's also the history of Overwatch 1, even though the only reason people hate Overwatch 2 is because of whatever the bullshit Overwatch 2 has produced with its monetization. Like, the game kind of sucks, yeah, whatever. But, like, Overwatch is still just fucking Overwatch. Like, it's never really changed. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, it's just Overwatch 2.0.
Yeah, it's all it is. So people want to hate on it because, they went to a 5v5 thing. It's like, it's not bad. It's not awful. It's not great, you know, but it's not the fucking worst thing in the world. The characters still play the same.
Very middle of the road.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing new. It's nothing fresh. I do think you're absolutely right. I think Sony trying to put out anything for a while, like you've got a lot of like shit that you need to eat. I don't know how they get through it, but they need to somehow ends with a rabid community.
Play with your mic. Remember, you're in a weird room.
I am in a weird room. Is this better?
It's much better.
Thanks. Sorry. So I just I think there's a lot of things that Sony needs to do, but I do think that there is, much like the wave of like people just like fuck you for Helldivers, I do think we're also catching a wave of people who are just sick of ideologies being pushed in games.
Well, I don't think there's okay. Let's compartmentalize that. I definitely think that that's a real big thing. I think people are like, I just don't give a shit about agendas and I just want to play video games. Yes. I also think that other side of that's a big fucking like big factor. May almost overweigh that is people are sick of the live service style games.
Yeah.
People don't want to have games that are primarily live service anymore. I think it's only because of how much the live service like generates bullshit and then produces trash and then keeps trying to like filter it in and then throws monetization at you. You know what I mean? The amount of live service games that exist within the world are too many. The fact that like the more companies you see, so many live service games that keep coming out, and every one of them that keeps coming out, they keep going. People keep going into it, and they're like, I don't really give a shit. And then the player count goes high for a minute because streamers and influencers or whatever trying to pick up on the game, and then within a couple weeks or a month, it just kind of drops off. And then you're seeing the actual real count of the players that do enjoy that game, and it's fucking just tiny. You know what I mean? And when I think the next big thing too between things like Sony and Concord is like when you release on multiple platforms, you are really opening a like if you're trying to open on multiple platforms to allow multiple gamers to play, that's fine. I respect that. But at the same point in time, you have to know your audience. PC gamers have a plethora of games so that they can just touch at any point in time. Your console gamers don't. If your console gamers get a game that's a fucking banger, like if Concord came out and it was something different from Overwatch and it gained enough traction and whatnot, and then you release it on PC, right?
Yeah,
that might be a different ballgame.
Grow your fan base before you try to get in there, because
see, if people feeling that it's exclusive and they're like, well, this is bullshit, we can't play it on PC, this game looks fucking awesome, and it generates a little bit of that hype, then you go, hey guys, all right, cool, we hear you, here it is on PC, and then people jump on it. You know what I mean? That might generate a little bit more. When you put something that is like a live service game that no one really gives a fuck about, everybody hates the live service. Everything is a live service game, so no one wants to spend more money on that shit. And there's already so much of it on PC. It's like, I can totally understand why a game like that would die. I also completely understand why Sony pulled it out immediately, because if Sony really believed in their fucking games, right? They believed in what they were putting out, they would have stuck through it. If they believed in the developers, they believed in the game, they would have been behind it. Fuck you guys, we're running this out. You will see how good this is. But you know, if you're only live for a week before you pull it, I just saw a post on Reddit. Some guy posted something. It was like, I just picked it, like showing the PS5 copy of it, like a physical. It's like, I'm so fucking pumped to play this. I have my day off on Saturday. And some guy was like, who's gonna tell him? Because I'm not gonna tell him.
Oh man,
it just feels bad, man.
Wasn't it something like 4 or 5 years of development?
Yeah,
and $200 million into it.
Again,
that is wild. That like after a week they're like, nah.
Well, there's also the big thing about it too, is like you have Marvel Rivals that had its beta around the same time. Marvel Rivals is going to be that Overwatch clone that everybody really wants, and it has the Marvel IP behind it. And that game kind of slaps a little bit. It's a little different. It's not an FPS. It's a third person hero shooter. But it's enough that it's like, it's fucking fun. Me and Aaron,
got a little bit of that it factor.
Me and Aaron played, and it was like, this is fucking cool, dude. This is
Steam.
It will be on Steam, yes. So, and I played it, and they've already introduced more characters. They dropped in, like at the very end of it, they dropped in Thor and fucking Shark Boy or whatever the fuck his name was, and they've already announced Captain America. And like we talked about before, they have so many characters that they can pull from the Marvel IP that like it's an endless update. You know what I mean? And if they wanted to do that as a live service, they can, because of the factor that it is. Because everybody eats up Marvel. You know what I mean? One fucking Robert Downey Jr. came out as going to play Doctor Doom, and everybody lost their fucking minds, and nobody was like, he's Iron Man, right? How does that make sense in the Marvel universe? And then all the speculation. There's
actually a comic book where in an alternate universe. Are you over the multiverse thing?
Go ahead, I'm listening.
So there's actually a
go ahead.
Okay. So actually there is a comic book where Iron Man, Tony Stark, does become Doctor Doom.
Yes, I know.
And I gotta be honest, I'm kind of fucking over everybody doing like the multiverse and like the different versions of this, that. I think it's becoming so fucking played out. And I'm kind of seeing like how how it allows lazy writing to be like oh, you can just look at this from a different universe.
So here,
like there's a side to it that can be really fucking fun, and there's another side where you're just like, kind of fuck.
so okay, so the reason why they introduced it, especially in the comic book era, it was because we went from Silver Age to Golden Age, or it was a transition between back in the day when Stan Lee and Jack.
Let me establish. This is my bitching and my ranting. I will let you continue. Is purely towards like modern cinema.
Yeah.
How everybody is like jumping on this, and you see it. It really just feels like writers like, we don't know what to do. Make 8 different versions. You go.
And I'm going to explain why this ended up happening. Right. So the stories came to a point like X-Men. X-Men was like, you have comic books and shit like that. And it's like X-Men episode, comic book 578. You know what I mean? And at a certain point, you're like, you so banger, got it signed.
Save that for Guns Before.
But you have these stories that have progressed for so long that they've started to lose their momentum.
Oh yeah,
they lose their interest. So you go back and you start reading it and you start thinking, oh, remember fucking comic book 25 when they fought X, Y, and Z. It was such a cool thing. And so as the story's progressing, they're losing that momentum on new stories. They started introducing the new 50. Oh, well, DC did the new 52 and like all that stuff. It was trying to revamp it. And it was that idea behind multiverse type of stuff that was already existed within the world, within the comic books. And it was all these different things. Flash and all that stuff had, especially with DC, had all the ideas behind being able to be access to Speed Force and being able to
Detective Comics.
Yeah. It was. Thank you for that, boy. I was really worried we weren't going to get to that. But anyway, so like it was a way for them to restart series. So when it came to the MCU and it comes to the movie type of stuff, the reason why they have to do it that way is because they can't follow exactly the comic books. They can't do it because there's been so many different iterations over so many years. So they can go with it being like, it's multiverse. And because of multiverse and the way that multiverse was written is it's infinite. It's literally infinite. You can pick and choose any different outcome, and it could be in a different universe at any point in time. So what is on Earth 365 is on, not on Earth, 228 or whatever it comes out to. And so it's a cool idea. But I feel like MCU and MCU watchers are just every fucking thing that comes out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know who needs a multiverse? Star Wars.
No.
Yes. I will tell you why. I will tell you why. This is the only reason why I'm saying this. I think Star Wars needs its own multiverse because they're trying to continue. Look at Acolyte. Let's talk about it.
No. Star Wars does not need a multiverse. Star Wars does not need. Unless, God, can you imagine like fucking Mace Windu falls like after getting his arm chopped off and like falls like into like a portal and comes out into like our current like day and age on a Quentin Tarantino set, and he's like, everybody just mistakes him for Samuel L. Jackson. Like that's how like how he like restarts his life right there and goes forward. Nobody fucking knows the difference. But okay,
that would be the dopest movie because you know who would play Samuel L. Jackson in that movie? Terrence Howard.
Robert Downey Jr. No, Star Wars does not need a multiverse. Star Wars does not need them thinking like that. Star Wars needs Hans Zimmer and George Lucas like to just, get them a Scarface mountain of cocaine and just lock them in a room with some fucking hookers and just let them like whatever comes out of that. Make a movie out of that.
Yeah.
I need to stop all these fucking like we're handing over the reins to this person. They show a lot of promise. All these people trying to make their own mark is what's fucking kind of like twisting and turning everything.
The dev that did, or the dev, Jesus, the director.
And people like Cliff are fucking empowering them and telling them like, oh, it's great when it's fucking not, you fucking loser. Because every time you say it's great and I have a comeback, you agree with me.
The thing
You're
is,
right. Yeah,
you
they
can
didn't really do anything in that lightsaber fight. That's fucking right. They didn't.
you can look at stuff like Acolyte as a perfect example.
Oh, I'm gonna fucking throw something.
As
I'm getting mad.
perfect example of when you shouldn't do things. When you're doing things for fan service, like there's a reason why they haven't really done Old Republic, right? Because Old Republic isn't for everyone. Old Republic is for
the diehards.
The diehards are the gamers, right? If you fuck with the Old Republic, if you fuck with Revan and all that stuff, people will riot. People will riot. I hope people would riot, because it's like that is a perfect, complete storyline that was so fucking cool that you can't retell that in your own image for fucking a 6-series Netflix special or whatever the fuck it is, Disney Plus. You know, there's so many different things that come into Star Wars that why I feel like, okay, prequels, we all talked about them being trash for a long time. They are bad. They're bad, but they're bad in like a good way. You know, they kind of are like, they're bad, but they have a complete story because there was already a story developed. You have your sequels, and it's like, I don't know what you decided to go with. You started off real fucking strong, real strong, real strong, and then you kind of just blew off into the future there.
I think it was about the time that I watched Mark Hamill take an alien teat and just like raw dog it in the mouth.
You know,
that's when I was like,
and again, I understood the story, and so they tried to keep it from. There was these old books that, God, who wrote it? I don't know if Timothy Zahn wrote them. Maybe not. They were called the New Jedi Academy, and it was about Leia and Han's.
Timothy Zahn wrote the Darth Maul book, by the way.
He did. He also wrote this book called The Icarus Hunt. Might be one of the best books Timothy Zahn has ever written in his entire life. I have it. I'll bring it to you. Don't even worry about looking it up. I will literally bring you a hardcover of that. What was I saying?
Timothy Zahn.
Yes. Oh, the new Jedi Order. So the new Jedi Order was about Han and Leia had twins, and the twins were Force users, and Luke trained them because Luke was the last of the Jedi. Han and Leia had kids. It was a bloodline. He trained them to be Jedis, and then they went and did Jedi shit. Not always together, but separately. And there's this really fucking cool storyline. And it was so interesting. So when the first the first movie came out, and there was this whole thing about who's Rey, who's Finn, things like that. And it was like, And then it was like, who's Kylo Ren? And it was like, cool, man. Maybe they're going the new Jedi Order type of thing. And they're trying to do this whole like, sibling type of shit. Like they were focused on there. I was involved. I was right there. I was like, I'm good to go. And then it was like, no, she's just some fucking thingamajig from somewhere in this, and he's just the fucking one kid from Han and Leia that went fucking rogue. And it's like, okay, that's kind of bullshit. And they're like, okay, everybody thinks it's bullshit. He didn't go rogue. Luke just had a fucking rogue moment, and he went rogue because he went rogue. It was like, okay, that's kind of bullshit too. Like, it's a fucking door that just kept revolving. It was like, dude, I don't know what the hell is going on. And that's what the problem with Star Wars is. It's like they keep trying to make shit that's fan service. So the director of Mando, what's his name? Jon Favreau or whatever.
Jon Favreau is the EP. John Filoni. Is did John or David? Or David Filoni?
I don't know who's
David Filoni is the director who's kind of been like he spent time with George Lucas, and Jon Favreau is kind of like the overseer.
He's the guy. He's the guy who played fucking Tony Stark's like cab driver or whatever.
So that's Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau is kind of been taking over. He's overseeing all the different Star Wars projects.
He started, and when Mando started, he was the head of Mando. And that was
that Dave one?
No, he was the first one that started that. And that's why Mando was so good. That guy is a diehard Star Wars fan. He's a diehard dumbass Star Wars fan. And so when stuff like that existed, and he was able to take it on. That's why there was so much emphasis on keeping as true as possible the story and having things wrap around it. And that's why Mando was so good. And I'm not knocking
Favreau and Dave Malone.
Yeah, but
Filoni.
yeah, Favreau for sure was like the
So yeah, he
creative.
was there, but I was right too.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
I never denied it. I'm just saying he's a nerd, and he's the nerd you follow around at fucking conventions, because if you ask a question, he has it. So, who is? Oh God, man, he played a vampire. He was Deacon, or was he Deacon? He was Deacon in that zombie game. Oh God, hold on. He played. He's the voice actor for the guy in the Force Unleashed. Oh my God, what? Come on, help me out here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know what the Force Unleashed is, the video game?
Nope.
Do you never played Force Unleashed?
Is that the guy with the? Are you talking about the kid from Shameless?
No. That's the
Force
new
Unleashed.
Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer. Do you know who Sam Witwer is?
No fucking clue what you're talking about.
Sam Witwer is God. What movie was he in? What show was he in? I gotta find this. I gotta look this up. Oh, he's in Supergirl.
Oh, this guy. Yeah, he's a big voice actor in a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay. He's a huge voice actor. He was in. He played Deacon in Days Gone. That was the name of the game that I was thinking of. Once Upon a Time. That's right. He was in Once Upon a Time. There was another big show. He was like a vampire in one of those big. Oh, Grimm. No, not Grimm. God damn. I don't know what fucking show it was.
He was in Dexter.
Smallville.
I remember him from Dexter. I didn't know he was in Rogue One, Clone Wars. He was a voice in Solo, a Star Wars story. He was in the new what do you call it? One Piece.
Yes. Being Human. That's the show he was in. That was the one he was in. Being Human. It was some teeny bop vampire werewolves fucking show or whatever. But he's a great actor. He's a phenomenal voice actor. So he is also a diehard Star Wars fan. And so when they hired him because he played, I think he was the voice actor of Darth Maul in the animated Star Wars series. What was that one? Fucking Clone Wars? Clone Wars and the bad ones or whatever. Bad Batch. Yeah. So he was Darth Maul in those. Like he's the voice actor for that. And so there's a lot of like bad history, like, or backing history to that, but he's a nerd and like he has a lot of emphasis. And like when he was shooting like The Force Unleashed, there were scenes where like he was like, they were doing this thing and they kept asking him, was like, why are you fucking like all aggressive and everything when you're doing this stuff? And he was like, well, Vader wouldn't have trained him, because in The Force Unleashed, the storyline is Vader takes on an apprentice that he's not supposed to have. Right, because that's the way the Sith rule works, is that there's always two. There's a master and an apprentice. But how do you get fucking to be master, and how do you get an apprentice? It's because all the apprentices take on their own apprentice. They level up, kill their masters, and then move forward. So that's the idea behind it. So Vader took on an apprentice. It was him, taught him the ways of the Sith, and then you go through the whole storyline. You play the game as that, and then you kind of like, at the end of it, you kind of twist your head and you kind of see yourself as you can pick and choose your path. You can either go light or dark. Really cool fucking game. Anyway, so he was doing this thing where he's like really aggressive when he was putting together his lightsaber, and they kept asking him, I was like, why are you doing that? And he's like, well, Vader wouldn't have told him about like how the Force works and stuff. He thought it was like, how he had to put stuff together, and it was like, yeah, this is my lightsaber, my battle, and he would be forceful on it. And I guess, like he was saying, like when I was telling him that, I guess all the executives were like, okay, fuck it, this guy knows what he's doing, just hire him. You know what I mean? That's the people you want. That's who you want to be running your Star Wars stuff, not whoever the fuck they have.
And on the flip side, the Acolyte cast, like they were, God, what did he say? Oh, they were talking about in an interview the overly violence of like one of the Jedi guys, and he's like, well, the Millennium Falcon blew up the Death Star, and nobody talked about all the people that died on that. Like, and just everybody just face palm. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like people, it blows my mind. Like people in Star Wars that don't know Star Wars.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. That's just kind of filtered.
And whether it's like they're like a small, whether they're just like an actor or something like that, it usually does shine through in one way or another that like these people don't give a shit.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's not, and I don't think as an actor you really need to. I think it's whoever is behind it, the writing team, the creative directors, and the director themselves are the people that need to know what the fuck they are, because they just need to give you direction. I don't need fucking Robert De Niro to know anything about anything. I just need him to act in a specific way. And when I give him direction, this is how I think you should act because this is how I know the character is. Then him for protruding that is the way that we'll see it on screen, you know?
Yeah, I guess you would kind of want, I don't know, I would want them to fucking at least like bulk up and do some homework.
Well, sure, you think like, you want everybody. You want people to method act like
Can you imagine fucking Watto instead of being like it's Robert De Niro. He's like doing like this fucking like wise guys like Goodfellas like no, trust me, this is gonna play out better. My action might.
You will give us the slaves. Are you talking to me?
I'm watching you, fucker.
Oh, I don't know, man. I that's why I've given up on Star Wars. I've given up on Disney specifically, and it's kind of the reason why I've given up on a lot of video games too. Man, the companies I used to respect and love and follow for so many years because they produce so much good shit, I just can't stand behind anymore because they just
greed got them.
I don't know if it's even greed anymore. I mean, it is greed, but I think a lot of it is also just like people not wanting to get shut down. You know, they get acquired. Like, look at when Microsoft acquires so many fucking different things. Borderlands is another perfect example. Borderlands 4. Borderlands 4 is the one game, the first game ever, Gearbox and 2K, that I'm looking at this going, I don't think that this is going to be a good one. No way. There's no way, right? You have pre-sequel, didn't do great. It was fine, whatever. Tiny Tina's like Wonderland, it's like, okay. And then it's like you see the movie and you're like, that didn't do well at all.
We are not in good hands.
And then it's like, hey, by the way, we have Borderlands 4 coming out. And people are like, whoa.
Why would you? The weird part to me, God, wouldn't you just want to take a minute?
Just a moment.
People like
just a moment.
In the heat, people are still like rabid. Like I don't even know if they were still in theaters at that point. I don't know if there still are. It would amaze me if they.
It's on. I just saw it. It just went to streaming services. Well, I think you can purchase it on streaming services.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I don't even know if I want to watch it. That might make me sad. But my point is, why would you announce it? Well, it's still fresh in people's mouths, like talking shit about the movie. Like that is the wildest thing to me.
Well, I think it's. You have one of two options. You have
getting ready for Q4.
That.
Try to close out strong.
You have this idea too of trying to get people to be like, okay, look, we understand it's shit, but look, we're producing the game. The movie was bad. We understand the movie's bad, but respect that we know what we're doing. Look at the last 3 games that we put out. We are fucking here. Like, it's our team that's doing this. Like, just be ready for that. You know? And I mean, if that was the case, I'm kind of back on board. But I'm not. It's one of those games where I almost feel like I've never missed a Borderlands game.
There's I'm getting worked up again. There's 2 ways I feel like you can do that, especially with something as established as Borderlands, is like where you can tell like 1, 2, people might not like it, 3. Has so much content, has so much like love that you can feel was put into the game. The same thing is with Fallout, and there was 2 directions where they went wildly different.
Sure. Okay.
Fallout had the writers that were actively saying, no, you can't put that in there. Yes, you can. They were working alongside them.
Saying
that no, like this will be in a later game, so we don't want you to like guess about that.
Not even writers.
Alongside the people that give the shit.
Not even the writers. Todd Howard, literally Todd Howard himself was like, you cannot put that in there because that is part of another storyline.
So anybody, it doesn't have to be Todd Howard. Cool if it was, But like anybody that's like that involved that can be on board and an asset to something that is carrying your brand name should have been there.
Yeah.
How Borderlands got made, don't know. Jack Black in Minecraft, don't care. Not gonna watch it.
Well,
Not gonna watch a Minecraft movie.
Was it Jack Black
Probably
came
not
out
for me anyways.
Well, and that's what Jack Black came out and said. It was like, well, this movie's not for you. Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's like Mario wasn't great. I saw the Mario movie. That was the most boring piece of shit I'd ever spent my time on. And then I sat back and I looked at it and it was like, it was for kids. It was designed and made for children. You know what I mean? And I was like, when I took that objective look at it, the colors, the pop, the goofiness of it, it was like, that was for kids, you know? And it's like, why am I as an adult going to see it other than the fact that it's Mario? And so when you get to like the Borderlands point of it, it's like, dude, Borderlands is not a kid's attitude. Like you're trying to capture people who are
make it R-rated.
Yeah, the games are fucking R-rated.
Yeah.
Everybody who grew up playing Borderlands since Borderlands 1, you know what I mean? Because Borderlands 1 is so old now, you have to think, who is the clientele that picked up those games? The oldest those people could be is like late 20s, early 30s. You know what I mean? So the people that are playing Tiny Tina's or whatever, like, yeah, those might be the younger generations or whatever, but even still, that's a rated R game in itself, or mature audience. Like, who are you making a movie that doesn't want to be made by anybody, or, you know, doesn't seem like it's made for anyone? Like, what is the point, you know? And then you put these big name actors in it. Oh, it's like, that drives me insane. So like my thing is like, when you see Borderlands 4, the first thing I look at is cats giving birth, deers outside.
No, just fucking weird things happening.
Dude, I'm telling you, the house is haunted, dude. We need to sage it. We need to sage the fuck out of it. Don't shush me. You want to keep it as is?
I wasn't talking to you.
Oh. But like the Borderlands 4 game, my biggest problem that I'm going to have is that how much do they pull back from their original games that they had to try and capture what is our society now? You know what I mean? Look at Tiny Tina's, and then look at the Borderlands movie. Look at everything else is around it. Nobody wants controversy. Nobody wants to produce Tyrone Souls. You know what I mean? So how much of Borderlands 4 is going to really be a Borderlands fucking sequel? How much of that is really going to be there with the writers, the developers, stuff like that? Gearbox really behind it in their manner? Or is it just going to be another fucking pump out because that's what people think this now IP needs?
You've made me incredibly depressed.
Yeah, dude. I just want something good. I don't want you to fucking bastardize the franchise I love to death because someone's scared of putting something controversial in a game. That can't make me a bad person, right? I'm just saying, man. There's no way.
I'm having like a small existential crisis because like it's such a fucking valid point, and it's so scary to think like they would like, well, instead of a continuation of all that stuff, like let's keep it new, let's keep it fresh. Let's try to work on the story that we've established with this movie that just tanked.
Yeah. See how much we can kind of play around with that. You know what I mean? It's just like, it feels bad. But then you look at other. So did you see Shroud's game finally came out?
Did it?
Yes. Spectre?
Yeah.
And it's
I've seen
positively mixed reviews.
Okay. So I saw when like he was like announcing it and like he was like, yeah, so you do this, you do this. You have like you're playing two people and you're like covering like your own angles and stuff like that.
Cool idea.
I think that's too much for a lot of people. I think that's too much for me.
I think it's way too much. I think
Shroud created a game for Shroud, and Shroud doesn't realize that only Shroud can do that.
I'm sorry, brother. We're all 300 IQ, brother. Like, bring it down a little bit.
It's like, so if you like you line up this angle, you're gonna nade, you're gonna flash, you're gonna do your own breaching for yourself, then you're gonna switch, you're gonna go in. Like, that is so fucking.
I think it's a cool idea for giving yourself a game that is way too involved, because there are going to be very, very specific people that want the way involvedness. The people that are playing Valorant, that are playing CS, that are playing fucking the higher end, like esports games or whatever, you know what I mean, are going to want something that's going to have more of a challenge, where it's not just like, you know, that this lane is always going to be walked, so you can always kind of pick and choose when you're going to snipe it out. Now you have this idea that like it can be there, but it can also be there as well. You know what I mean? Like, I like that idea. I think a lot of people kind of put the reviews of it, the people put the nail on the head. It's like, this game doesn't know what it wants to be. Like, it's so intermixed between so much stuff that no one knows what it wants to be. And because of that, it doesn't feel good. And everybody's like, the gunplay is just awful.
That's weird.
Yeah. Like, that's our biggest, like, most gripe right now is everybody's like, the guns feel like shit.
That's weird coming from him.
Well, and I don't know how much of him is.
Well, yeah.
It's the Doc type of scenario on this, right? You got a guy who's got a lot of money because of what he does. Are you ready for the Doc? Is he back yet?
Are you ready?
It's Monday?
Did you not see his...
Is it Monday?
Did you not see his thing?
I saw his,
today.
like... It was today?
Friday morning.
Oh, no, I didn't see.
Friday morning.
No, what happened?
Oh, God. So he did... Okay. So he came out and he had this thing, and he just like right off the bat, he's like, let's get into it. I've been waiting to talk about this. I've been this. And he talked about how, okay. I just want to do a disclaimer that I guess you kind of made a point. You're like, well, like, I mean, like, if you're just like talking, you're doing jokes, it still sounds really fucking weird that the fucking 40-year-old's talking to a 17-year-old.
It's a weird scenario, but
and I really hate that. Okay, I'll just get into it. So he went and he was like, so we, like, everything that came from this came from a lawsuit that's been settled, and per that lawsuit, I was not allowed to talk about it. They were not allowed to talk about it. I was not allowed to defend or try to make anything about it because it was not supposed to be talked about. Now that these former Twitch employees have talked about it, now I can. Now they're in violation. So now there's a new lawsuit against them. There's new this. And I don't know if you remember when he put out a tweet that it was like his like art.
I remember.
Or his tweet was floating and it looked like it was on a hook.
Yep.
Saying it was bait. He said that he carefully worded his thing to say, yes, the person was
underage,
and like this. And he said he left everything there to see who would talk, literally using it as bait.
Yeah.
And everybody that like latched onto it and stuff like that, like, I guess he's getting litigious against them.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not doing anything. You're just fucking
a
gossip network. Nobody's doing any actual investigation. The people that did this didn't do this. And he's saying that it stems from, this goes all the way back to when he first signed with Twitch, that he had a manager, like a partner manager, that wasn't doing their job correctly. That, like, he's like, why am I not invited to Twitch rivals? Like, I'm the 2-time, I'm the this. And they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So he ended up like just like contacting somebody above them, be like, I don't want this guy. He's not doing his job.
Sure.
That person wasn't necessarily like let go, but was moved to a different department and then rose up in that department. And that just happened to be overseeing inappropriate behavior and stuff like that. So then that person who used to be tied to him forwarded to their boss, and then they started going after them, and like that was kind of like the stem of everything.
Okay.
And he went on and like kind of like talked about how ever since this has been coming out, he's been taking notes and all this shit,
as he should.
And it was a lot. And I get how you said like you're in Discord with people, you're doing this and you're doing this, like you don't always know who it was. The fact that he keeps saying like, even if I did say something that was like that, the age of consent is like 17 or something like that. Like, it's so weird. That's,
it is
like,
a weird.
I get that you need to establish that, but
and you're trying to establish like legal boundaries. Like the thing, like you're,
Yeah.
is it okay morally? Probably not, right? Well,
Yeah.
to some people, obviously, you know, but yeah, to most people, most relatively normalized human beings. I think I've talked about this before at some point. Like, why are there so many weirdly pedophilic people in the gaming world? I think it's because, and I hate to say it, we're all children. Everybody who plays video games is a child. You can be a 50-year-old man. You're a fucking child. You're playing video games. You know what I mean? That's kind of the mindset we've always been set in. Games are for kids. You know what I mean? So as you grow older and you're still playing video games, we're in our fucking 30s, like mid 30s. We're still playing video games. There are parts of me that still revert back to being a child. I giggle like a child at certain points of video games. You know, there's a lot of that. So I have to imagine there's certain people that just don't develop past a certain point. I'm not saying that's the doc. I'm not saying that that's some of the other.
So say the 2-time, 6'8", 250 pounds of lean muscle.
Yeah, because he's in the middle of the situation.
I do also think another thing he did, like he's like, yeah, of course I got people whispering in my DMs. I'm the 2-time. Look at me.
And so
I start flexing.
Dude,
and you're like,
see, ow.
God, stop, dude. Like,
but that's the thing. That's the thing about it is it's always been a character. It's always been a character. Right? There's certain points of that. Like, obviously, you have to kind of keep it together in that sense. Like you can't really like lean on that. Well, it's just a character that I fucking diddled a minor.
Okay, but if the voice actor from fucking Johnny Bravo gets caught in a fucking like To Catch a Predator, he shouldn't be like, hey, pretty lady. like you know,
I understand
the character for a second.
I understand that. And like you can take it seriously to a point, but if you are that confident, there means that there has enough legal backing. Like the doc has been through enough legal shit over the years that like I feel like he's confident enough because the people who he relies on legally,
he's already beat the case. He's won the case. Like everything has already been decided against him.
Yeah.
So yeah, from his standpoint, like yes, technically he did nothing wrong, whether it's like a moral low ground or whatever. Yeah, no, he's beat all that. So all this shit that's coming out and all these like things that are coming against him, like I beat it already. What are you gonna do?
Well, it's not that I beat it already because it's not about the legal matter at this point. It's about the court of public opinion, right? And that's what you need to beat at this point.
That's the hard part,
right? And so if he's coming out being like, "This is what happened. These are all the things behind it," and like the fact is like it got settled because it was something that was an insignificant thing to a degree. Like if I'm talking to someone. Conversations are happening. Things are going smoothly. Things are going to a certain degree, and I'm having that conversation. And then maybe some emotions get involved in it. We're having it. And then at that point, you go, well, how old are you? And then it goes, whoa, back it up. Okay.
Another thing that should be noted, he did say, like, were some of the things I said inappropriate? Yes, and I regret that.
Well, sure.
Nothing. He did lay down. He's like, so this is like what's texting. This is what this is. He said that he put the inappropriate in there to see how many people would run with it based off of him using that word without putting in the context. The context was that it was just like
a conversation with someone
off kilter, like memes and jokes.
Sure, absolutely. And that's
so like for somebody to be sending like memes like that was inappropriate.
Well, and you're absolutely right, because if it's anybody that shouldn't be receiving it and you're doing it without them understanding it, then yeah, it probably teeters a fucking line. Because that's the problem, man. And we've talked about this before. At what point, and I'm not advocating for this, Jesus fucking Christ, I'm not advocating for this, but like at what point do we really draw that line? If you're actively trying to fuck a minor, that's a problem. But how far back behind that line do you go? You are a very big celebrity. You're going to have a lot of people that talk to you. At what point do
anybody going after Matthew McConaughey? He likes high school girls.
He does.
His favorite part is because he gets older and they stay the same age. Nobody's going after him, but the 2-time they're going after.
I think it's one of those things is like when you get as big as you are in streaming the gaming world and stuff like that, you do become celebrity status. I hate to say it, but that's what it is. And it's fucking stupid to think about. But like the
He streamed
influencers,
today to 189,000 viewers.
you know
It's
what I
like-
mean? You're at a point where there is a selection of you have to pick and choose your role in what you do. And if you decide to do those specific things and you get the backlash, you shouldn't be fucking blown off course by that backlash. You should know that it's on its way. That's the thing that Ninja used to say. I fucking hate Ninja, and I think he's a whip boy because of his wife. But Ninja used to talk about he doesn't have any conversations with any females at all. At all. I do not talk to females. I do not DM females. I do not, if I'm playing a video game and it's a female in it, I just leave. I don't have any interaction with it because I don't fucking want to have that dynamic in my life or whatever. And because, you know, or if there is a woman that has to be spoken with, my wife is with me at that point in time to have that conversation. And it's like, I get that.
It's respectable to a degree, but
where's the trust?
yeah.
If you're not going to do anything and your wife knows you're not going to do anything, then what does it matter? Unless it only
What led to this, bud?
Yeah, exactly. And outside of that, it's like if the whole reason why is you just don't want to deal with that problem, again, that makes sense. But then say that. I don't talk to females because I don't know if those bitches are going to fucking cause problems for me later down the road. Respect, understandable, totally cool, totally fine. You're worth a lot of money. Okay, I can see you walking away from shit like that. But it's like, in all retrospect, and again, and this is my idea, is that like we talk to I talk to people all day long. I talk to guys, I talk to girls, and for some of us out there, whatever fucking gender you want to pick, you know what I mean? I talk to people all the time. It's wherever my decision is and who I decide I want to have that conversation with, you know, it's like, and what I want to do with that conversation afterwards. Those are the decisions I make as a person. And I think when you're a celebrity or a big name streamer, you kind of have to pick and choose your battles on that. Do I want to talk to people when I find out someone is underage? Do I want to continue those conversations or not? Or do I immediately have that and say, hey, you know what? Everything I said before, like I preference that.
Talk
hey,
to my wife.
Or no, not just that, but hey, I didn't know your age. And so I want to preference right now that everything I said before was before I knew your age. From here on out, this conversation will be different. Screenshot it, send it to a lawyer immediately. Yeah, immediately. Hey, just so we're aware, this is what happened. I just want to be on fucking preference with that. You know what I mean? Because when it does become a backlash, you've already taken your steps to make sure that that shit doesn't bite you in the ass or even get ahead of it. You know?
CYA, cover your ass.
Always, always, always.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a bad thing. That's how things should be.
No.
It's also weird. It's also, it's not weird. It's not weird. It's actually not weird anymore. This is so common now between movies, gaming, the internet, that it's just like, you know, when we were kids, like don't go into chat rooms. Don't go into AIM. You don't know who you're talking to on there. It could be anybody. They could be fucking, they might tell you they're 16-year-old girl in fucking, you know, Czechoslovakia, but they could be a 40-year-old guy in Missouri. You know what I mean? There was always that conversation, and we just kind of were like, yeah, whatever it is. Fucking, it's a law this time. I don't give a shit. What an old guy fucking jerk it to me saying, oh, yeah, you look pretty, you know? Who fucking cares? You know what I mean? But it's like, it's so funny how as time went on, we were like, we never got fucking any of that shit when we were younger. And now it's all like, well, that's because all those fucking people are still doing what they're doing, man. Yeah, it's like, ooh.
Guy hasn't broke character in 35 years.
Yeah. Because I used AIM. I talked to some fucking people. Because remember when MSN chat rooms?
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I used to be on MSN chat rooms all the time. I had talked to people, supposedly, all over the fucking world. I met so many different people, just randomly popping in and talking to people when I was a kid. It was the most weird thing to be like on the computer, log in, go to a chat room, talk to people, and then just like, you didn't know who they were. You tell them your fucking life story as a fucking 12-year-old kid. You didn't know who you were talking to. It was wild, man.
A lawless time.
It was. I'm just surprised I never became a predator.
Time.
It's a good point. I'm not 40 yet, right? That's like the creeping point is 40, and then I start fucking trying to message 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds. Well, in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, calm down, Cliff.
All right.
Yeah.
Video games talked about. Star Wars and fucking Marvel talked about. If you fucks don't like this podcast, that's on you. I don't know what else to do with this one.
Detective Comics.
Oh, Detective Comics. I don't know what else to do. Other than, at this point, if you don't like this podcast, I think next one's going to be a religious one. And I don't mean like we're going after religious people. I mean, we're going to sit for an hour and we're going to go over the book of fucking... We'll read King James on this podcast. I got a fucking Bible floating around somewhere.
Deeper than New King James.
Ooh, so like we're talking about like, are we? Well, okay. Do we just?
It's got
new Christianity and like fucking born agains are boring, right? Let's go. Let's do Old Testament Catholicism.
Old Testament
or like.
In like ancient Sanskrit, but we're not going to like learn it. We're just going to try to pronounce the words.
Oh.
Or shapes. I don't even know if there's letters.
I'll see if I can find a full Old Testament, New Testament combination in Latin.
There you go.
And we'll just read it. We'll pick a verse and just go with it.
We're not doing it in this house.
Yeah, no, that's how we
start. You're going to be chanting in old Latin. Oh, I just mixed up this word, this word.
Yeah.
Oh, you did what?
Yeah, but the difference... Okay. I had this conversation actually pretty recently. Before we get out of here, we're going to have this fucking thing. The world, right? We talk about how we revolve around the sun. But the sun revolves around fucking our galaxy, and our galaxy revolves around its own self, and it moves through space. So it means instead of it being circular, we're kind of more of a spiral. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there were ghosts, and ghosts don't apply to the laws of gravity, wouldn't we just be leaving trails of ghosts going through space?
And that's how you get ghosts on Mars.
There you go. All right, guys, we're out of here. Bye-bye.